Hey, what's up? This is Scott with Level Up Tutorials, and in this video, we're going to get data from the database into our application live, as in we're going to enter something into the database and you're going to see it just pop into the site live. It's going to be really cool. Okay. So this is just going to be a sort of a tester here. Let's go ahead, and what we're going to be doing first is defining our database collection. Now, we didn't have to do anything at all whatsoever to get our database up and running, and you might not even know that it's up and running. Now, we'll talk a little bit about security around that later on. This is just a demo project right now. Okay. So what we're going to be doing here inside of our application is adding another folder. Now, we talked about this client and server folders. Now, these client and server folders are largely here as like starting points. In the past, these folders were used primarily to just magically add files to Meteor. And sure enough, people found, well, the import style of things was really a much better solution, right? So, well, we have the imports folder. Now, what happens is you end up having a couple of folders within your imports folder, one of which is going to be the API folder and one of which is going to be the UI folder. Now, these folders are not magically named or anything. These are just folders, but it's a nice separation. In fact, Level Up Tutorials uses the same exact pattern. Let's go ahead and drag our app.svelte into the UI. It is part of the UI after all, and we will have to update our main.js to say UI. Okay, so we have this up and running. Now, next, let's head to our API folder where we're going to create another new file, and I'll bump down the font size slightly in a second, but this is just simply going to be called whatever your database collection would be. We could say resolutions.js. Resolutions.js, just like this, right? Let's bump down the font size here a little bit. And again, I don't know why it's giving me the React icon. VS Code, giving me some funny icons right now. This isn't React. This isn't React. What are you talking about? Okay, so resolutions.js, and inside of here, we're going to import Mongo from, and this is going to be from meteor/Mongo. See, there's that whole / thing I mentioned in the other video. And next, we're going to do export const resolutions is equal to a new Mongo dot collection, and then this is going to be a all lowercase version of this resolutions. Ooh, resolutions like this. Let me get rid of the sidebar here so we have some code. So this is it. We're basically saying, hey, we're creating this resolutions as a database table, essentially, and it's a new collection named resolutions, all lowercase here. Okay, so this is our first database collection. Let me bump it down so you can see it all here. And just by doing this, we now have the ability to add, insert, whatever from resolutions. It's pretty cool. It's very nice and easy, right? And since this file is in the imports directory, it's not eagerly being loaded. So we need to head to the main.js on the server, and we need to import this. Notice how there's the startup code in here and it's not being used. We're not going to worry about it. Okay. We're just going to import / imports API resolutions like this. Okay, notice how we're just importing the file. This essentially just takes the file and shoots it right in here, right? So import API resolutions. So now that we have that, what we can do is we can start to write our front end code to pull the resolutions out of the database. Now, keep in mind that resolutions is a long word. If you don't want to type out resolutions, you by all means do something easier like to-dos or tasks or something like that. But what I really want from you is to take this application that we're building here, make it something your own, right? If you just follow along, type by type by type, you're not going to learn a whole lot. So what I want you to do is really take this slightly in a different direction, whatever direction you might want to go. Okay, so if we next head to our app.svelte file, which is just this header, we're going to dive into some Svelte specific code. This first half of this video is all Meteor specific. Now this is going to be Svelte specific. In any Svelte file, you can, at the very tippy top of the file, have a script tag where you write your JavaScript. And inside of here, we can import some stuff. Now we can import first use tracker. Now, tracker is the name of the thing in Meteor that checks to see if there's any changes in the database and updates the front end, okay? So we don't need to worry about it too much other than to know, well, to use tracker, you need to use tracker. Now, and it's going to be from Meteor /RDB Svelte Meteor data. This was the package that we installed at the last video. Okay. Next thing in here, we're going to import from our API, believe it or not, right? On the front end of the site. Are you crazy? Yeah, I'm crazy. We're going to import resolution. I should have an S, resolutions. We're going to import the Mongo object itself. We're going to import resolutions from, and we're going to do that from API/resolutions.js. You don't need the JS in this one because it is a JavaScript file. Okay. Now, next thing we're going to do is define a reactive variable. Now, this is some Svelte specific code. If you do $:, and then the name of a variable instead of const variable, it makes this variable reactive, as in it updates and changes throughout the UI. And that's going to come in really handy with this reactive database business we have going on with Tracker. So we have $:, and then it's going to be resolutions, and this is going to be equal to use tracker, which accepts a function, and that function is going to allow us to do a database call. What? Yeah, database call. Sorry, I'm being obnoxious. All right, let's go ahead and do resolutions.find, and we can just say, hey, find, and then we need to do at the end of this find a .fetch. Let me close the file browser over here. So this is it. Check it out. What this is going to do for us is that when something is added to the database, one of these resolutions is added to the database, this reactive variable is going to work in tandem with use tracker to pull a resolution, or all resolutions, I should say, from the database. Now let's talk some more Svelte specific templating code. Now Svelte uses its own templating language and it's fantastic. And we can use that with a :each and access each of the $ resolutions. So $resolutions as resolution. Should have chosen a shorter word, of course. And we're going to want to close this with a each. That was a /. I'm sorry, I had something in my throat when I said that. And each resolution is going to have, well, what? A status, right? It's going to have a status, maybe a created at date. It doesn't matter right now because we haven't necessarily defined that model in that way. But at the end of the day, it's going to have a resolution.title. So if we just want our resolution to output, we can simply just have an h2 and inside of curly brackets, say resolution.title. Okay. So check it out. This is some pretty simple code. This is some pretty easy stuff, but check this out. It's 13 lines of code. And when something is added to our database, this is going to just pop right in there. You're going to notice that in the actual browser, yeah, yo, that's fresh. That's it. But let's head to our command line. In fact, what I'm going to do here from this directory, I'm going to pop open a new tab, bump up the font size here so we can see it nice and big. And we're going to move it over and we're going to watch this magic happen. And this is good kind of magic, right? What we're going to be doing here is we're going to insert something into our database via the command line because we haven't yet written any sort of event code that could pull from a form. We will do that in the very next video. So let's go ahead and do that by just typing Meteor Mongo. That allows us to get into the console for Mongo. You can see that it looks like this. And from here, we can do some very basic inserts. And well, we can do anything that you can do with MongoDB. Let me bump down the font size and we're going to say DB, as in the database, dot resolutions. Notice how this is lowercase resolutions. It's going to need to match this guy right here, this new Mongo collections lowercase resolutions. So if you had this be tasks or to-dos or whatever, you're going to want to say db.tasks to-dos, whatever. And then we can say dot insert bracket. I'm really missing the auto completion here. I love my auto completion. And we can say, and let's give it this a title, which is what I determined it would have. And the title, sorry, I lost my browser. Let's make sure we have our browser open. Wouldn't want to lose that. We got to see this thing pop in here. The title is going to be Welcome to the Show. Enter. Hey, just like that. Just like that. And we want to add another one. We can say, Syntax is a great podcast. Don't mind if you do. Thank you. So check it out. We've now inserted two things into our database, and without even touching anything, they've both appeared live in our code window. And look at the code that it took to do that. Two lines here in resolutions to create our database. In the Svelte file itself, 13 lines, not even 13 lines, but really just a header and a basic each loop, and then this tracker business. This is all reactive. If you build a chat app in this, you could imagine you could have a form, somebody types it, submits to the database, it just pops in there. You don't have to refresh the cache. You don't have to do optimistic UI. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It just works, right? Check it out. So this is really great. It's super duper easy and super, super smooth. It's slick, okay? So I'll make this code available in the description of this video. You can check it out. You can play around with it, and by all means, go nuts on this stuff. In the next video, we're going to pick this up talking about forms. We're going to submit a form. We're going to create a new resolution. We're going to flesh this thing out a little bit more and turn this into a little bit more of a to-do app or a resolution app. I swear this is not a to-do app. It's a resolution app, despite the fact that it's going to have the exact same functionality. Okay, so because this is a free series, this is the part of the video where I'm going to get a little selly, and I'm going to sell you on some stuff. If you want to take more of my courses, head on over to leveluptutorials.com. And you'll see that we have a ton of courses. In fact, some from not even me. This full stack React and Firebase was done by the amazing James Quick. We also have Travis Nielsen on here, Spencer Carley, and more coming soon. Design systems in Figma. Custom React Hooks is a 21 video course on custom React hooks, animating React, woo, 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 and a Svelte for beginners course. And actually, this month's course is going to be on Sapper and Svelte, so really excited about that one. Also, if you're looking for a fantastic new podcast, check out syntax.fm. This podcast is so new. It started 2 years ago, but we are on episode 246 at the time of recording this video, and we talked about getting a job in boot camps. It's a really great podcast I do with the fantastic Wes Boss. You know him and you love him. He and I talk all things web dev twice weekly, so check it out at syntax.fm. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next episode.